Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Thank you for joining me wherever you are joining me. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. If you're joining me on a YouTube channel, make sure you like and subscribe. If you're joining me on Facebook, make sure that you like and that you follow the page. We appreciate all of the support. I keep saying, wait, I'm so conditioned as a journalist to say certain things, and one of those is the we. I don't know why. You know why? I take that back. I do know why. It's because I'm built different. You ever heard somebody say that they're built different? And most of the times when people say I'm built different or they're built different or he's built different, they're just talking in cliches. Like a lot of times that word has become cliche to refer to somebody that's good. Oh, well, he's different. What do you mean? Like how do you quantify different? What would you say that would um that would lead someone to believe that they're built different? Well, we look to our sports world as normal for some clarification. Lamar Jackson is different. Why? Because Lamar Jackson, growing up the way he grew up and dealing with the scrutiny of playing the position that he plays, where he doesn't necessarily play it the exact way that the greats have played it, you have to be different in order to face all of the scrutiny, all of the unfounded doubt that he's faced and still perform. This is a guy who could go out and on the rare occasion have a 4 turnover game and still win the game. This is a guy who, when people were talking about him and he's out, will have the audacity to say, oh, well, that backup is just the same as him. This is someone who's had to deal with people saying that he shouldn't be playing a position. People giving other quarterbacks credit for doing something he's been doing for years. He's different. That's a different mentality. That's a different mentality because it would have been easy for him to do like so many others did. Hey, I don't want to deal with this. If the bag is in playing receiver, I'm going to go play receiver. If the bag is in playing defensive back, I'm going to go and play defensive back because I want the bag. And I'm not faulting anybody for making that decision. But when you make decisions like that, you're not different. When you make decisions like that, you're not different. So my argument is that what makes you different, what makes people want to look at you and say, oh my gosh, that person is not like us, is sometimes not quantifiable with statistics. It's not quantifiable by looking on a piece of paper. However, there are some times where the numbers just jump out at you and you have no other choice but to pay attention to them. Where the numbers are so overwhelming that you sit back and go, hey man, I just got to give it up for the dude. And that's when you bring in LeBron James. LeBron James is clearly different. Why is he clearly different? LeBron James is, I believe, 36, 37 years old now. He's been playing basketball in the NBA longer than many of my students at my school have been alive. He's been playing for 18 seasons. He's played more years in the NBA than not. Let that sink in. In his lifetime, he spent more years in the NBA than he has not spent in the NBA. The NBA is almost all that he knows. From 17 on, he's been an NBA basketball player. And at 37 years old, with that much miles on him, remember, he's played 18 seasons, but if you really extrapolate the numbers to add in playoffs, he's probably played something like 22 seasons. So that man with that amount of mileage at that high level is still out here putting up MVP numbers. MVP numbers, you say. Well, his team's not winning as much. Well, okay. That doesn't mean he doesn't go in the MVP conversation. Steph Curry last year was getting MVP consideration, even though his team wasn't winning. We've seen other players on teams that were not that good get MVP consideration or win the MVP. So it's not abnormal for something like that to happen. You just haven't seen it as much or ever out of a 37-year-old. This man is different. And you don't have to look at the unquantifiable things in order to say he's different. You don't have to say, well, he just works hard. You don't have to say, oh, well, nope, it's right here in the numbers. 28.5 points, 7.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists. That's what he's doing right now in the NBA at 37 years old. He's different. He's different. At 37 years old, I wasn't going out there murking nobody in a basketball game. Nobody. At 37 years old, I was nursing not one but two knee injuries. At 37 years old, my back was flared up. At 37 years old, I wasn't in the greatest of shape.
Good morning, faculty, staff, and students.
When I was 37, the things that I was doing, they paled in comparison to what LeBron James was doing. When I was 37, I could not fathom doing what LeBron James is doing at the age of 37. It's different. And we have to acknowledge different because we use that term way too much. There's way too many times where somebody says, oh, yo, I'm built different, when they're not really built different. Hey, homeboy, you don't wake up at 6 a.m. to work out every morning, you're not built different. Hey, homegirl, just because you know how to put makeup on and a lace front, that doesn't make you different. Everybody does that. If you play 3 sports, that's cool. That doesn't make you different. Just participating doesn't make you different. What makes you different is when you play 3 sports at a high level while other people struggle to play 1. When you're different, you don't have to say you're different. See, that's the thing. LeBron James has never had to tell people, hey, I'm different. People look at that man and go, that man's different. Lamar Jackson, he's never had to look at anybody and say, I'm different. People look at him and go, he's different. You know why? Because they keep on trying to flip-flopping and switching. And whenever people are trying to do things in order to quantify who you are as a person, that means that you're different. I could consider myself different, but what do I do that proves that I'm different? What is it about me that proves that I'm different? Well, okay. Everybody has their thing, right? Everybody has their thing. But what is it about you that proves that you're different? If you can't answer that question, then guess what? You're probably not different. Is that a bad thing? No, because most of us are not different. Nobody is the same. Nobody is exactly the same, but nobody's different. Like a lot of people are not different. Mentalities are the same. Why do trends work? Why do trends work? Trends work because people come back. Thank you so much. Trends work because people come back and they say, hey, they're doing it. That looks fun. I want to do it too. They're doing it. That looks fine. I want to do it too. That's why a trend works. If everybody was different, then there would be no trends. If everybody was different, then you wouldn't have people following other people. That kind of would suck, wouldn't it? If you think about it, we kind of all need to have some same to us. But when you get down to someone being built different, physically, mentally, their skill level, you either have to see it or you have to recognize it. You have to see it or you have to recognize it. It has to be just hit you over the head with it like LeBron James, or you have to recognize it like you do with Lamar Jackson. You got to be different in order to take the amount of scrutiny, the amount of ridicule that this man takes and still walk out on that football field and be amazing. LeBron James' body is different than your body and my body. That's what makes him different. So the next time you're talking to somebody, you see somebody say something along the lines of, hey man, I'm different. I'm built different. You don't have to like give them no static. You ain't got to cause no smoke. Sometimes the smoke's not necessary. Just tell them why. That's all you got to do. Ask them why. If they're built different, they should be able to tell. If they're telling you they're built different, they should be able to tell you why. However, to me, the best compliment is when somebody says, hey, you different. I've had it happen to me. I'm not trying to brag. No, you know what? Let me take that back. I'm trying to brag. That's what I'm doing. Because when people tell you you're different, it just solidifies what you've already known in your heart, that you're not trying to be anybody else. You're just trying to be who you are. We all say it. Oh, well, I want to be an original. I want to be me. But it takes a lot of courage. Not to force it, not to force yourself into doing different things, but to just be different, just to be who you are. We suppress it. As a teacher, I see it all the time. I see students who are really smart who act like they're not smart. I see students who can be really talented who don't work hard. And every time I see it, I'm like, man, I wish they would be different. I wish they would be different. Because I'm pretty sure in their minds that they think they are different. But they're just doing stuff that I've seen a million times before. This isn't my first rodeo. So when I think about different, it's what do you bring to the table? I know what LeBron James brings to the table. You, ladies and gentlemen, y'all better appreciate that man while you can, because he won't be here much longer. I say that, but I probably said that a few years ago, and he's still here. So don't hold me to that. You better appreciate Lamar Jackson, because talents like Lamar Jackson don't necessarily stay around for as long as Tom Brady does. That's not the normal trajectory for talents like a Lamar Jackson. So you better appreciate him while you can. If there's somebody else out there that's different, you better appreciate them while you can. Simone Biles, I hope all of you appreciated her. There's no more Simone Biles coming. There's never going to be another Simone Biles. That's just so good, so much better than everybody else that they literally deduct her because she's not as good as she was in another competition. There will never be another person who is just competing against themselves in gymnastics. Not in one event, but in every event. When you say somebody's different, make sure they deserve it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. We do this thing a few times a week. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated if you're joining me on the YouTube channel, on Facebook, wherever you might be joining me. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure that you subscribe, make sure that you like, make sure you leave a comment. We appreciate you. Until next time, peace.